Hi, my name is Jerry Lincoln, J.K. Lincoln. This is my email. You can ask me any questions about the presentation, and also I will be giving out a handout if you email me for all the links that in the programs, and it'll be how to access everything. So let's begin. So we're going to go over stigma of self-publishing and going traditional, the differences, warnings, how to determine scamming publishers, and they're out there, steps and tools to do it yourself, completely yourself, or self-publishing general contractors, how and where to get it all done for you, get the cover here, the editing here, that kind of stuff. Paperback, ebook self-publishing, book covers are a very important piece. Marketing your self-publishing books. Traditional publishing versus self-publishing. I have a friend who's a best-selling author. So when he gives the book company or the publishing company his book, it takes 2 years after he gives it to them. 2 years before it's published. Now that's different if you have something that's very topical. For instance, something on coronavirus would have course be sped up. But the difference between 2 years, self-publishing. This is my 5th cozy mystery book. I finished it in November. I finished it in November, and November 2019, and I published it December 2019. 1 month. It's a huge difference. So that's something to consider. You also get to keep all the money. Okay, 5 years ago, self-publishing was a scar. Now it's a tattoo. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think it's a good thing. So these are some books, Celestine Prophecy. They're all bestsellers. Your Erroneous Zones, Wool, Aragon, Joy of Cooking, all of the 50 Shades of Grey. These were all self-published originally and picked up later. Every one of these. So just because you choose to self-publish does not necessarily mean that you're going to stay there. If your book sells well, you will be offered a contract, and it will be a good one. Now those are all newer books. These are old ones. Tale of Peter Rabbit, A Christmas Carol. This one, it's hard to see. It's written by E.E. Cummings, the famous poet, and Upton Sinclair. So self-publishing has been around for a while. Ways to spot scamming publishers. Now, all this information is on my handout, and I'll give you my email again before the end. Writer Beware. If you Google Writer Beware, you'll get their website, and it will tell you. All you have to do is look up publishers, the one that you're thinking of, and they'll tell you if it's wrong. They have alerts for writers. They have a thumbs down agency list for if you're looking for a agent, a thumbs down publishing list, and publishing and marketing scams, and there are a lot of them. Victoria Strauss, Writer Beware, she has her own website, and so that's another thing you can go to. I think she's tied in with them, but she has her own also. Kboards.com is a forum for writers, and you can also look up on there, you can say, I'm thinking of XYZ publisher. Has anybody had an experience? And people will tell you if they have or not. Writer Sanctum is another one. And this is the biggie. If you choose a publisher and you give them your book and you have put buy on the cover and they allow it, go the other way. Leave. If they allow buy on the cover, it's not done anymore. Do not put buy on the cover. And if they let you, do not go with them. Seriously. It sounds little, but it's not. This is my mother. This is my mom, probably 80 years ago. The picture is 80 years old. That's why it's terrible. It's blurry. But the thing with my mom, she loved sewing. And she didn't need to sew. She could afford to buy her own clothes. She loved making her own clothes. And the thing she loved most about making her own clothes, when somebody said to her, that looks store-bought. So this is my analogy to self-publishing. Your book needs to look traditionally published. If it looks self-published, it's a killer. The secret to successful self-publishing is not to let the book look self-published. That's really huge because people will say, oh, self-published. Seriously, they will. Here's my other quote. If you are self-published, you are held to a higher standard than traditionally published books. We've all read books, and we've all seen mistakes, a word twice, a different name, a different, storyline is incorrect. We've all seen that. A lot of editing issues. If you're self-published, you can't do that. You have to get it absolutely perfect, or as perfect as you can. So it's really important because you really are held to a higher standard. Doing it yourself. Okay, can you read the top line, please?
It says the dog.
Aha! See what you did? So you need to have other eyes on your book, because if it's your own book, you're gonna make your brain is gonna fix it for you. So you need to have other eyes. If it's just a neighbor reading it, somebody needs to read it. I really recommend having an editor, but not everybody can. But you need some other eyes on it. Now, editing, these are some computer programs, ProWriter and Grammarly. I use those before I give them to my editor, before I give the book to my editor. So I do a lot of self-editing before I give it to her. Now, one of the problems that a lot of people complain about on computerized editing is a lot of false positives. That is true to a certain extent, but what I have found is that, let's say it says your verb tense is incorrect, and I read the sentence and the dog chased the cat. No, the verb tense is not wrong, but there's something else with the sentence, maybe not something this obvious, but it could be something, and I read the sentence over and it's like, yeah, that's really poorly worded. So sometimes a false positive, read the sentence again, and it may be something else. May not be what it says, but it might be something else. Cover, if you want to do your own cover, of course Photoshop, I didn't even put that on there, that's a given. But Canva and GIMP, GIMP I know is free. It's a Photoshop clone. It's not exact, you're going to have to learn some stuff, but it does do pretty much the same stuff. Canva, I think, is an online program. Is that what it is? And so that's another way you can go. Formatting ebook and paperback. Scrivener. I highly, highly recommend Scrivener, and not just because I have how-to books on it. It is really wonderful. When I started using Scrivener, I was using Word. It was an old Word, but it was Word. It would take me literally more than a day to figure out page numbering. And with Scrivener, it's really a snap. And Scrivener also can it formats paperback books, hardback, whatever, but it also formats for you ebooks. So that's another thing to look at. Sigil and Caliber, that's once it does do the formatting for ebooks, if you want to tweak it, sometimes I want to tweak it. These are all, Scrivener costs, I think it's $50 now. Sigil and Caliber are free. Pages, I'm not sure about that. It's an Apple program, but it is available in Windows. And I have heard, I've not used it, but I have heard that it's very good for formatting ebooks. EPUB Validator. Once you create the e-file, you run it through EPUB Validator to make sure there's no errors on it. So that's and it's also free, it's on the internet. I'll give you the link for that. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, Scrivener. Here are my books on how to. Quick Start Guide to Scrivener, Quick Start Guide to Scrivener Mac, Scrivener Windows. How I did it is I show a picture, and then I tell you exactly what to do. I have arrows. I showed it later. So anyway, it's a very good book if you want to learn Scrivener, because Scrivener, as great as the program is, it has a very high learning curve. And one of these books will get you right into it. It will walk you through the whole thing. Okay, covers. One of the things that you can do as far as covers is a pre-made book cover. They're much cheaper. So I went to a site, and I'll give you that on the handout. And I looked through all their covers. And this was a thriller book, or a suspense novel. And it wasn't exactly correct. You can kind of see here, he's holding something in his hand. He was holding a knife, so I had the guy remove it. And this book was, I think this cover was, $50. And if you buy a cover, it can be hundreds to thousands. So it was very inexpensive, and I like the cover. I think it's a really nice cover for a pre-made. And they also do, I think if you do a series, I think you can get those as pre-made also. And I give you the link to the place you can get this, one of the places. So this book, I've mentioned K-Boards, I mentioned it earlier. And I was on K-Boards just going through what you do on K-Boards, it's a writer's forum like I mentioned before. You can ask questions and there's all these writers and they can answer it. So, but you just scroll through and you see other things. K-Boards is actually where I learned almost everything I know about self-publishing. So it's really a good resource. So I was on K-Boards and just looking through the things, and there's an artist, and she's saying, I'll give a free book cover to the first person who writes to me. I got to be the first. So I love this cover. It's probably my worst book, but it's my favorite cover. And I thought she did a great job. She did it several different ways and let me choose, and I really like this. And this one was done on Fiverr. I don't know if you've heard of Fiverr.com. You'll get the link to it. And it's a short story that I wrote. And I like the cover. I think it's I think I paid $5 for this cover. Oh, $5 plus I got the PSD file, the Photoshop file, so I could change it around, which I don't even think I did. Okay, editing, proofreading, formatting covers. So if you go to K-Boards, kboards.com, YP, the YP stands for Yellow Pages. And then Fiverr.com, and if you don't use the Yellow Pages, but you just go to their thing, you search for whatever you're looking for, editing, proofreading, they have all of this. KDP book formatting, that's more for Fiverr, but not necessarily. eBook, whatever you're looking for, you do a search for. And they both have search places on their thing. And this shows where it is. The top one is K-Boards, and right here is where the search thing is because it's kind of confusing. This is Fiverr. They'll give you a thing, and you type in editing, proofreading, whatever you want, and do a search. You'll get a lot of, for Fiverr, you're going to get a lot of different places or people that are willing to do it for you. And they have stars, and you want to look at their stars because some people are better than other people. And so if you can choose between a person with 1 5-star rating or 100 4.5-star ratings, I'd go with 100 just to make sure. So so here's what you're searching for: editing, proofreading. So whatever you're looking for, you do the search for. Okay, paperback, POD. What POD is, print on demand, and what it means is all my books are on Amazon. So what it means is if you go to Amazon and look for one of my books, Amazon doesn't have my books on the shelf. Amazon prints them after you order it. So if you order it today, they print it tonight and ship it out tomorrow. It's very quick. And I'm very happy with the quality of Amazon. I'm very happy with how they treat me. But some people don't like them that much. Some people have something against them and they want to go to Ingram Spark. They think the quality is better, which I disagree with. Ingram Spark is $50. And another thing about Ingram Spark is people think that they have a better distribution, that Amazon is limited. So I wrote to Amazon and asked them about their distribution. This is the question I asked. With expanded distribution, how do the books get distributed? This was their answer. If you enroll your paperback in expanded distribution, which I do, then your book goes into a rather large database. This database is run and managed by Lightning Source, an Ingram Spark company. You're still getting distributed by Ingram Spark. Book chain, schools, university, etc. have access to this database where they can purchase your books. So the thing is, even if you go with Amazon, you are still getting Ingram Spark distribution. Now, if you go with Ingram Spark, are you getting better? I don't know. But is it worth $50? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. For me, it isn't. Hardcovers. Hardcovers is a whole different story. So the thing with the hardcover is Amazon doesn't do it. So I do go with Ingram Spark. All of my children's books are hardcover, and but I've never paid the $50. Never, not once. How many children's books? 6 children's books, and some of my other books are in hardcover also. I have never paid the $50. Get a coupon before you begin. Do a Google search on Ingram Spark coupon. The other thing is if you subscribe to their letters, they send out a letter. It's maybe once a month. Delete it if you don't want it. But they will announce things, and it's like there may be one from now to November, something like that. So always get the coupon. Here are my children's books. They're all in hardcover. So they've done a good job with them. E-publishing. There are several e-publishing places you can release your book to. Amazon, Apple, Kobo, they have their own little device. Google Play, Barnes & Noble, they have their own device. Smashwords. The only books of mine that are on everything in the self-publishing world, it's called having your book wide, having it everywhere. And this is just e-publishing. The only books of mine that are on all of them are my yoga books and my children's books. All the rest are on something that is called Kindle Select. Kindle to the public, it's called Kindle Unlimited. And the way that it works is if you're a big reader and you read a ton of books, Amazon has a thing, it's like a library. They have a library. And authors that sign up for it, people pay, I think it's like $15 a month. Do you know?
No, I don't.
$15 a month, and you get to read as many books as you want that are in the Kindle program, the Kindle Select program. So both of my series are in Kindle Select. Almost all my other books are in Kindle Select. And I get quite a big amount of money every month. You get paid as a self-published author. You get paid for how many pages the people read. So the reason my yoga books and the children's books aren't on there, the children's books are like 30 pages a piece, so it would be 15 cents. And the yoga books are 100 pages, so that'd be 50 cents. I'm not going to do that. But for my regular books, I make a little bit less than a sale, an ebook sale, but not that much less. And a lot of people will only read this way. So I highly recommend it for you. And they distribute it to all those other places in the other screen. And so it's something to consider if you don't want to do it yourself. Book covers. The most important thing, do not have buy on the cover. It is not done anymore. It's just not done. Look at Amazon. If you look at 1,000 books on Amazon, you're going to see less than 10 that have buy. Another thing very important about book covers, the genre, the font, the thumbnail, you know how they're like this big on Amazon? And research, and we'll talk about that too. Bathroom Yoga by Jerry Lincoln. This is my first book. It's before I knew about buy. I have not changed it, and do not do that. I think my brother is the one who pointed it out to me, and when I did my research, they don't do it anymore. But I will have to say that this book, as silly as it looks, was featured on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he made fun of it for almost an entire minute, and sales skyrocketed. So it's actually a straight yoga book, seated yoga, and the poses are real. There's just a funny little thing, in the pages, but all the poses are real. It's seated yoga. You can do it on a chair. Okay, the reason I'm putting this book up there, I'm in a writing group in Prescott, Arizona, and they did a poetry book. A lot of the writers added to the poetry book, and they hired an artist who was very good to do the cover. This is a very pretty cover. Do you think it's a nice cover? It's pretty.
It's nice, yeah.
So the thing with covers is an artist can have museum quality work, but if they don't know about the book publishing industry, they're not good for you, and it's not going to work. So the thing with this book, it's a dark cover. It's very dark. And people would look at it and think, oh, it's dark poetry. Well, it's not. It's just poetry. Some of it might be dark, but it's just... So it did not sell very well. So the genre, the way the cover looks, is very important. So what's this? What genre is this?
Romance.
Romance. Half-naked men, right?
Yeah.
Romance. You can tell at a glance that it's romance, right? Okay. So this is my romance book.
Yay.
There's no half-naked men on it. So what this is not wrong. This is kind of an exception. There's no sex in my books. Can I say sex?
Yes. You can.
There's no sex. It's a clean romance. So that's why you don't want to mislead them, because if you make them think there's sex in your book and there's not, people are not going to be happy. I tried to sell my book to a friend of mine who's a cowgirl. She said, "Oh no, I want sex in my books." So that's why this one does not have sex or a naked man on the cover. So this is, guess?
Probably adventure, maybe murder mystery, maybe suspense.
Yes, suspense thriller. So you can see a lot of them are dark. So that's a thing, but not all of them are dark. But there is something similar about all these books. Do you see what it is? It's hard to tell if you don't know what you're looking for. Look at the font on all of these.
Oh, yes.
They're all these box letters.
Yes.
I don't know what you call that font, but it's a heavy, straight, and now this one has a thinner one, but it's still the same boxy font. So that's how you can tell that. This is mine, suspense. Dark, the font is right. No buy. Okay, guess.
Fantasy, science fiction.
Paranormal, something paranormal.
Yeah, something.
That would be my guess. But guess what? It's a nonfiction book written by a veterinarian.
Huh.
It's actually a very good book. The other mistake that she made was the font is way too frilly. It's just not done. And I think I'm going to come back to her later with more bad examples. But the thing is, I love this cover. It's gorgeous. I mean, look at it. Look at that. It's that picture is just wonderful. But not for the genre that she wrote in. It's just not right. Okay, so this is nonfiction books. They're very straightforward. If there's a picture, it's small. If there's, very simple. The fonts are different, but basically very simple. Nonfiction is simple. They just want you to see what they're selling. These are mine. They're all the same. We'll get into branding later. And simple cover, background photo that you can barely see. Okay, now this is still huge, but your font, remember that the font is this big. I mean, not the font, the thumbnail on Amazon or wherever you're selling. Your picture is going to be this big. So you can tell at a glance, you can see, okay, romance, suspense, nonfiction. So that's one of the main purposes. A lot of times on the thumbnails, you might not be able to read the title, but you'll be able to tell the genre from that. So that's why when you do your book cover, make sure it looks good as a thumbnail. So this is part of the research part of being a self-published writer. I tried to do this on Amazon. I couldn't figure out how. But on Google, Amazon.com bestsellers nonfiction, or Amazon.com bestsellers thrillers, or romance, or cozy mystery, whatever you're doing, you need to look at their bestsellers. This is what you want to see after you do it. You want to see number 1, number 2, number 3. You want the list of their books. Their top 10 bestsellers, their top 100 bestsellers, and then you want to look at this is nonfiction, you want to look at the covers and see if yours matches. Because in self-publishing, I've always been kind of a nonconformist. But for self-publishing, I set that aside. You have to conform as far as being a self-published author. You need your book to look traditionally published. You really do. So you need to do your research, and one way is to look at the bestsellers on Amazon for whatever genre you're writing.
I never realized how similar they look.
Yes.
And I'm a librarian.
It's amazing,
I
isn't
never,
it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so we're going back to that book now with the gorgeous cover, the half cat, half woman. I had to take a picture. I didn't know how else to do it. So you can see the contents start on the left-hand page. It's called the verso page in publishing. It starts on the left-hand. No, 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 no. The librarian is here shaking her head. No. The table of contents never starts on the left page. Never, ever, ever. Acknowledgements and appreciations, well, that one's okay. Forward, that should be on the right-hand page also. I don't know if it's hard and fast like the contents, but it should be. Preface, right-hand page again. So it's very important to follow the rules of traditional publishing. Look at books. You have books at home, take a look at them. Take a look at your books and see, where does the table of contents begin? Where does the preface begin? Very important to do your research. Very important. Okay, we're on marketing. I'm sure everybody was waiting for this. So we're going to go through series, branding, Kindle Select, which I've already talked about, Amazon marketing, pay-per-click, promotions, doing promotions for your book, book, blog, self-promotion. Series. What I was told is, if you want to make money, write romance, write a series. Well, they didn't tell me I had to put sex in the romance, but I did write a series. This is the first 4 books in my romance series. And you can see that even though the pictures are different, the fonts are exactly the same, except this one I had to make bigger. The title is up here. The Cowgirls in Time, which is the name of the series, is all in script. Wind, which is the thing that's the same on all the books, is all in script. My name is on the bottom, and you can see that I use a lot of pen names. But the format of the cover is the same, the top, the bottom. So that part is the branding. You want your books to look the same. Now, if you're doing different genres, which I have done, then that's not going to be possible. But if you write, even if it's not a series, if you write a one-time mystery book, and then you write another mystery, a standalone, write another one, as long as you're in the same genre, you should have a similar look. That's your branding, which is very important. This is my Cozy Mystery series, the first 4 books, and you can see the pictures are different. My name is always on the bottom. And look at the clouds. See the blue sky with clouds? Now, I'll give you an example of branding and how this is successful. So a friend of mine who has read all my books and loves them, she said, I found a book the other day with clouds on the top, and I picked it up. It was not mine, but she picked it up because it had clouds on the top that looked like it was mine. She thought it was mine. So that's part of your branding, is make the cover at least similar. They're not exact, but the font is the same in everyone, and they all have this, the Rutledge Historical Society thing, a little bit separate, and it needs to be similar. Again, my branding, I have the easy, fast, effective on all of them. The thing is the same, very plain cover. It's nonfiction, and the branding. So there you've seen 3 different genres that I've done, and in each one, the branding is the same for that genre. Box sets. This is another thing. When you do a series, then you can put it in a box set. And when I first did this one, I wrote these first. The Cozy Mysteries are what I'm working on now. I could only get through 7 romance books. It wasn't my thing. But this is the first 4 of them. And I thought, I'm going to do the box set for the Kindle Select, where people can rent your book and it's free, but you get paid for it. And thinking that that's where I'd make it. Well, this one is probably 1,200 pages, so I make about $6 on it. It's roughly half a cent that you get. It changes monthly, but it's roughly. So when somebody reads this book from cover to cover, I get about $6. But what amazed me is an unknown author, Erica Einhorn. I'm still selling the paperbacks of these, which really surprised me. So this is my Cozy Mystery 4-book series, the first 4 books. Okay, Amazon ads marketing. I really can't say much about Amazon ads marketing. I can tell you this, it's pay per click. So the way that it works is, if I want to advertise this book, so I go and I set up the account, and this book actually walks you through setting up the account. And then I put keywords, and when you set up a book on Amazon, to sell it on Amazon, and probably the others too if I remember correctly, you are able to put in 7 words about the book. So this would be like nonfiction, Amazon ads, marketing, but when you do their ads in the pay-per-click piece, you can put in 1,000 words, 1,000 different words you can use, and phrases like Amazon ads, that would be considered one. So, and the other thing is, if there is a best-selling author who's done a book on Amazon ads, or fiction, let's say you're writing a romance book and you want to advertise that, what's that woman's name? She lives in Outlander. I can't believe I forgot her name. Anyway, you can put in authors. So on the 7 words, when you set up your book, you cannot. But when you do your 1,000 words, you can put in authors. So that's going to bring people. So whenever anybody, I almost had it. So whenever anybody does a search on that author, your stuff will come up. So it's very effective. And my book is, I have to say, is very well done.
Diana
Gabaldon, Outlander, great books. Okay, so this is how this book is done. I have text on how to do it. I have arrows on exactly what to do. This section just happens to be Amazon ads. Also has, you can do it in, this is fairly new, Spain, France, Germany, and I think the other one is Italy, but I wouldn't swear to that one. So this is, when you go on to the Spanish part of the Amazon ads, it's actually in Spanish. So this is how to get it. I have directions on how to get it into English. So there's my arrows. So the whole thing is arrow driven and with a text. It's very clear, and it's very, I don't miss a step. It's very walking you from one thing to the other. In closing, promotions. If you email me, and give it a good subject line so I don't think you're spam. So say question or your presentation or something like that. I will give you a list of or a place to get a list for book promotions. And the way book promotions work is you sign up for one. They can be anywhere from free to $5 to the best one is called BookBub, and that one's $1,000. But you usually make it back. But the little ones, you don't always make it back. But what you're looking for on promotions is not necessarily people buying your book that day. It's getting higher in the ranking. The higher you are in the ranking, the Amazon ranking, the more visible you will be. Amazon will say, oh, she's selling a lot of books. Let's put her higher up there so more people will see her, so more books will be sold. So what you want with a promotion is visibility. If you're a self-published author, visibility is everything. If they don't see you, and I don't know how many books are on Amazon, millions, gazillions, if they don't see you, they're not going to buy your book. So visibility is everything, and promotions is one way to do it. I do promotions. Book blogs, I have not done it yet. It's time consuming to try to find one that will accept your book and hope that they give you a good review. But a lot of people have been very successful, and it's on my to-do list. Self-promotion is what I've been doing this whole presentation. I've been showing you my books, and I'm going to show you a few more. These are some more of my yoga books: Wheelchair Yoga, Airplane Yoga, and Essential Yoga on Horseback. They're all basically seated yoga. And they're all the same way, where I give a description of how to do it and show a picture. So this book is a nonfiction book that I have, simple cover. And this one I did before I knew about that stuff. Actually, somebody else did it for me. It was somebody on Kboards that I got. She told me how to do it for free. So this book is about how my dog, I still have, he just turned 11 years old. attacked me viciously. It was a horrible situation. And this explains how it happened, why it happened, and how I got it fixed. And he's a wonderful, wonderful dog. He's just turned 11. This is another nonfiction kind of memoir kind of thing about my mom in the nursing home. And that's my niece and her 2 children. They're all grown up now. And it's a caregiving book, and it's kind of like what I did right, what I did wrong. I confess everything. So that's another book. So that's about it. Here's my email again, Jerry Lincoln, Jerri, Lincoln, @gmail.com. Ask me any questions. I will help you. If you want the handout, I'd be happy to send it to you. It has all the links on it, all the programs, everything I mentioned in there. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your attention, and I hope you learned something from this.
Thank you.